Hello my friends, I'm out here doing some splits. I'm going to take a Kona queen colony that overwintered for me, doing very well. I'm going to remove some frames from that and make 2 nucs or another hive and a nuc. I don't know yet, I'll see what's in there. But my spring assessment showed they're doing excellent brood pattern, lots of drones. They're ready to go. I only found 1 queen cell and it wasn't wasn't active. It had nothing in it, so that worried me a little. So I went and purchased 2 queens. They're both Konas also. Hawaiian company. They make good queens. They export them all over the place. The reason I bought those was someone had extras, was local to me, and I could get them last night and use them today. So they're the same queens, from the same source as the queen whose colony I'm going to split. And since she hasn't made many queen cells, there's only 1 in there that I found on my spring assessment so far. There may be more when I open it up today, but having those queens will give me more options. So essentially I can pull as you know, even 1 frame out. I have other frames with resources and honey, so yeah, I'm not limited on options when I have queens. But yeah, as you can see behind me, my bees are healthy, they're doing great. So I'm going to start this season off with the 1 colony that didn't make a bunch of queen cells. I only have 1 queen cell, but I have 2 queens ready to go. So I'm going to prepare some nucs and yeah, I'm going to open her up, see what's in there, pull some frames. That gives the queen that's in there some space so she doesn't feel pressured into reproducing or swarming, right? So all I'll have to do is remove some frames, keep an eye on them for the next couple weeks so they don't produce more queen cells, which I don't think they will. They might, you know, if they're really good and they are coming into the flow. I already have a honey super on there because the dandelions did real well, and yeah, they overwintered real well, had resources still, and yeah, honey supers are on. So I'll see how heavy they are. I'll get them off, see what's going on. I may not show a whole bunch of what's going on inside the hive because the whole point of this isn't to make a video, it's to get my bees done. And a lot of that video you'll see on YouTube of individual frames or what's going on inside the hive is all at the expense of the bees. So my first priority here is the bees, but I'll show you what I can. You know, it depends on how much honey I get on my gloves and if I can operate the camera. But enough talking, let's get to work. Okay, before I open up the hive, what I have is a couple nuc boxes. Just these plastic boxes, put 5 frames in, closes up, you can close the entrance. They're actually pretty good. I got hive body ready to go. I actually got a couple of these set up. Got a bunch of empty frames ready to replace any frames that I take out of the hive or to fill in any spaces. This nuc will be going to my friends at Checkmate Kennels. You know, quality dogs. This is where my puppy comes from. Wonderful people, wonderful dogs. They show an interest in maybe having some of their own honey. So I'm going to give them a nuc if I can. So along with the empty frames, hive bodies, and nuc boxes, I also have frames, full frames of honey, a few frames of this drawn comb, and some of these had some crystallized honey that didn't extract. This is actually a brood frame when I had a queen get into one of my honey supers. But there's resources on there. It looks old and nasty, but the bees will clean it up. So those will fill in the nucs. So hopefully, you know, best case scenario, I only have to pull 2 frames of brood You know, put a frame of honey, frame of drawn comb, maybe a frame of resources. By resources I mean the pollen and bee bread that they make from the pollen. But yeah, so I got everything ready. I'm just going to have to pull off the honey super here. That's my Kona bees right there. They're doing pretty good. They weren't my best honey producers. My best honey producers were my Alberta bred bees, locally bred. They produced a lot. From a nuke to fall, I got over 120 pounds of honey from this colony here you're looking at now. But that's for another day. I want to keep their genetics, so I will be using her queen cells to do her splits. But today I'm doing splits from some Kona queens I purchased. So let me take this honey super off. We'll see what we can do here. Alright, it's really bright out here. I think I have the camera pointed at the top of my hive. I'm going to remove the honey super. And start pulling frames. Yeah, it's really bright out here. I can't see what I'm doing as far as the camera. Some honeybees. These are all the foraging bees. I always put the inner cover down in front of the hive at an angle so they can crawl up. But yeah, this honey super has been on here for, I don't know, a week now. There's bees in it. And they propolized the frames in place. See if I can pull one out. I'll show you. Frames that don't already have wax on them take a long time to be drawn out. They haven't done really anything. I'm putting stuff on the bottom. I don't know if you can see that in the camera. Basically just connecting bridge comb from the top of the frames underneath the queen excluder. So the good news is that is this will be light and not hard to take off. The bad news is whatever honey they've been collecting is in the brood boxes, which will also put pressure on the queen as it limits her space. And of course, it doesn't give me honey. I don't want their brood honey. Don't need that for the winter. Okay. Again, everything in your honey super are foraging bees. So I will put them out front. Now, hopefully you can see this in the camera. These boxes are packed with bees. A very, very healthy colony. And a very, very full hive. I have my glasses on, be very careful if I can find the queen. But I did take out a frame, full frame of honey from this and replaced it with just a frame of drawn out wax. An empty frame, hoping the queen would come by and start laying in it. If so, she might be easy to find today. Yeah, I don't think, yeah, don't have to worry too much about the queen stuck to the queen excluder. Well, it's better to be safe. Bang some of them off. And again, put all the equipment that has bees on it or in it, or in front of the hive so they can return to the hive. Okay, so what I'll be doing now is pulling some of these frames. And I'll pull one before I turn the camera off. I'm not going to leave the camera on and make an hour-long video, and it might take me an hour because each and every frame has to come out of here. I'm working with no smoke, so it might take a while. First one's always the hardest to get out. All right. So when I was in here earlier doing my spring assessment, I recorded which frames had queen cells, so I wouldn't forget. And then I made a mental note of where my best brood frames were. This is a full frame of honey by the weight of it. This would be a good frame to add extra bees. Highly doubt the queen will be on there. Good thing I'm wearing a suit today because I'm already killing bees. So I killed a few here. Killed a whole bunch maybe. Better stop recording. No. This would be the frame I put in here to give the queen some room to lay. And it looks like they just put a bunch of honey on it. Let's take a look at this one. This would be the interesting frame, really. This one and the frame with the queen cell in the bottom brood box, which if I left the camera running, you'd probably have to wait half an hour, 40 minutes to see it before I can get in there. Oh yeah, that's a heavy frame already. And if I can find my queen on this one, this will make my whole day much easier. And little buggers filled it with nectar. And it's already capped. Okay, capped honey. This is the dandelion flow we're drawing on, which has just ended. We'll be going into the main flow here. Oh, I made an enemy's on my face. That's why you don't wear a suit. Okay. Well, here's a frame. So the honey frames I pulled, I didn't really look at what bees were on it, because the odds are the queen's not on a frame full of honey. There's nowhere for her to lay, and she doesn't have to go look for her own food. It's brought to her. This frame here, the green frame, this is a drone frame, has larger cells, so when they draw out. Okay, well, here's a sign. I don't know how you see that. That is drone brood, and it's all hatching. And I'm gonna look on here. See if she's putting eggs back in, because she might be on this frame. There's room to lay. See how much this queen likes to lay drone. But if you had mite problems, you just pull this frame out, freeze it. I'll shake the bees off, and you get rid of like 90% of your mites. These are already hatched out. I don't know how well you see that in the camera, but what a beautiful pattern. Yeah, so far that's nothing that I'm after. Now, was this the frame I put in? Pretty sure I already looked at the empty frame. I pulled honey out. You know, of course it has to be like 30 degrees out here too. It's not a quick and easy thing. And now we're starting to get into the meat of this matter. This frame should have brood on it by the weight of it. This frame has brood on it. This frame has larvae on it. This is a perfect frame to make a split from, as long as it doesn't have my queen on it. And with all the drones crawling around, it makes it harder to find a queen. If the queen is on here, should have attendant bees. There should be like a ball of bees maybe. Oh, the drones are big and healthy. Yeah, she's been laying. There are eggs on this frame. All stages of egg to larvae. Yeah, I really like this queen. It's too bad she didn't make queen cells. At least not in time. You know, some of these drones are just hatched, young drones. Dead one stuck to my fingers. Okay, this is gonna be a long day of looking at bees. So you see videos, right? And they're like, oh, there's my queen, or oh, this frame will have my queen, there's the queen, do you see the queen? I can go through this box twice and never find the queen. I mean, I don't know how well you see this, but like, and also you can listen to the hive. Actually, that's how I go by, since I can never find the queens. I have this frame pulled out and some others pulled out, and the hive's still pretty calm. Now if the queen was pulled out of the hive, a few minutes later the intensity of the buzzing would increase. You can hear it, you can feel it. Okay, this is an excellent frame. She got resources. It's got a little bit of drone brood on it. Or maybe not. No, that's not drone. Okay, so this is the kind of frame you want. Okay, I got brood ready to hatch. On the other side I have eggs and larvae. So I'm not get it in the camera at all. There's eggs and larvae in those cells. They look like little, I don't know, maggoty things, or bits of rice. Excuse my language. I was squishing bees, which is not good. Okay, this frame is definitely going to be used for a split. We'll double check again for the queen. Okay, basically if you purchase queens, if you have queens, not queen cells, but queens, Wow, there's a lot of bees in here. Basically, all you need is 2 frames, like I showed you, of bees, right? You need some eggs, you need some larvae. Okay. Probably don't want this frame. Now, I was just in here a week ago and I cleaned off all the bridge comb and everything, connecting comb. These little buggers made everything stuck together again. Thought it would make it easier for when I came to do this. Okay, again, that's brood. This is a brood frame. I've got bee bread on here. I got hatching brood. I do see eggs. Okay, my queen is laying. She's in here somewhere. On one of these frames. So I'm going to leave this frame in here. That's a good frame for a split. So basically I want to make 2 nucs at least. I'm looking for 4 frames. I have 1 pulled already. I have lots of frames of resources I can use. But the idea here is to remove any queen cells so they don't swarm, and to remove a bunch of bees and brood so they don't get overpopulated before they're busy collecting honey. With the honey supers on and some extra room in here for the queen to lay, everything should be good. I wish I was stronger, I could just lift the whole box off. But that is not the case. One day I can afford one of those lifter things. Make my life a lot easier. This is a nice frame. Yeah, I'm really impressed with these bees. The other hive's even more impressive. Okay, so there's a queen cell thing, I think. So by that I mean right in the middle at the bottom there's a little bump. It's probably not, it doesn't look right. Yeah, this is a great one. This is a great one. Yeah, we got freshly laid eggs, we got bee bread. I don't see any older larvae. And these are the frames I really hate too, because my queen's on here somewhere. And so I got no good advice for finding a queen, except for look where, you know, a bunch of bees are attending to another bee. I mean, there's lots of big bees on here. Those are my drones. Man, they look healthy. Yeah, there are larvae. There is bee bread. I do not see a queen. So, I don't know if this is in the camera here, but there's a funny looking, could just be a drone cell. That is a queen cell starting. Well, they are starting to prepare for their summer swarm. Killing a lot of bees. So 2 things, right? Making a freaking video for YouTube with your bees distracts you from your bees. You know, I don't know how many bees I killed already. So between the gloves, the suit, and the frickin' camera, I'm trying to hold things so the camera can see it, so you can see it, right? I mean, it's not often I'm doing stuff like this. I wouldn't mind sharing it, but it's at the expense of the bees, really. I'm just gonna, I want this frame for a split. I'm not real fussy about putting drones in a split, but they're on every frame in here. Okay, There's hatching. You're replacing what's hatching with nectar. I'd say this is a safe one to take. But again, I will be double checking it before I put it into a nuke box. But right there, those two frames, that's essentially my nucleus for a nuke for my friends there at Checkmate Kennels. Like I said before, awesome dogs. You want an awesome dog, you want a hunting dog, sporting dog, you want a companion dog, spend your day with, will keep up to all your busy activities, and really you can't find better bred dogs for hunting or sporting than those. I cannot say enough about wonderful people at Checkmate Kennels. www whatever. www.checkmatekennels.com. Check it out. Okay, so one nuke already in mind, ready to go. Plenty of bees on each of the frames. Like I said, I got these resource frames I pulled too. I can just drop one of those in just for the bees, or I can put the honey super back on, queen excluder, just collect bees and dump them in the other one as I need them. Alright, here's an excellent. This frame's marked from an earlier split, so this frame has good luck. Okay, I see what you get in the camera here. At the bottom of the frame, closest to me is a bunch of drone brood. That's what all the protrusions are. There's no queen cells. There is bee bread larvae. There is eggs. I don't know that would be possible fit on camera. Now really, unless the queen's in this top box, like look at all those bees. So I'm just blowing on them, get them moving. Hopefully the queen will be like in a bundle like that somewhere, you know. The bees won't be so quick to move away from the queen. There's just so many bees every time I go to maneuver the frame, I'm squishing them. Yeah, making YouTube videos and bees, like I don't know what these guys. Alright. If you got enough hives, you don't care you're doing damage to one, yeah, go ahead, you know. Point things out and do all these things, right? Take you an hour to find the queen and turn on the camera and be like, oh, here's the queen, right? I don't know. Probably not making much sense with it. Getting delusional in the 30-degree heat. This is a nice frame of bees. This is a nice frame of bees. So really, the easiest thing probably with this hive would be just do a walkway split. Split these boxes apart. Each one has more than enough resources to form another colony and fill a hive. I gotta take it apart anyways. So yeah, that's what I'm doing. Okay, I'm gonna pull each and every one of these frames. I'm gonna look at each and every one of these frames. I haven't found my queen yet, so I'm gonna turn off the camera. As much as I love all you people, you're my friends, you're a bit of a distraction right now. So I'm gonna turn off the camera, go through all this, and put my nukes together. Because I also have to go save my brother from my dog. I Can't leave her chewing on him for too long. So yeah, that's a look inside a very healthy hive. Sorry, I don't know how much of it got in the camera, but yeah, I'm not a videographer, I'm just a beekeeper and organic gardener. But yeah, I'll be back, show you some more, or show you what my final result. Okay, so here's what the frames I'm pulling out of the beehive are going into. This is one of my Kona queens. Now, one thing I've never seen in the videos talking about installing queens or installing packages or nucs or any of this. I've seen people spraying them with sugar solution, sugar and water, to keep them calm or whatever, but you need to keep them hydrated too. So what you can do is just take some water on the tip of your finger and rub it across the cage here in little droplets every couple hours, just 2 or 3 droplets, and they'll collect up the water. Person I got these off received them on Friday, so they've probably been in the cage, you know, a day or two, and then today is Sunday. So to keep them alive all that time, you got to make sure you keep giving them water right up until you're using them. I gave them water before I brought them out here outside, and while I'm doing this, I left them inside. So here they're in the sun. So I'm just going to turn them on their side. Put them in the shade here of the camera, actually. So what I got here is 1 full frame of honey. Okay, both sides, fully capped frame of honey. Okay, I got some empty comb, some crystallized honey. Yeah, it looks like some bee bread and a few expired embryos they will deal with. And the same on this side. Crystallized honey, a tiny amount of capped honey. It's a good brood frame, essentially. That's actually not even on a foundation, that's with wire. And I have another frame. Again, a brood frame. But it has crystallized honey, it has bee bread and pollen, and it has wax already on it. So all they have to do is clean up the resources, reorganize the frame. They don't have to draw any frames out. So what I'm going to do, it's a 5 frame nuc. Okay, if you purchase one of these, it's going to cost you, I don't know, about $350 Canadian, I think is the going rate now. I got some last year at $300, but that's I haven't seen that price since that person was selling them. So I'm just going to go over here and grab the other 2 frames that I pulled out and you saw in the earlier part of the video. Okay, so what's on this frame is some capped honey, right? Some fresh nectar. I have capped brood. I have larvae. I have bee bread. I have pollen. Unfortunately, I have a bunch of drones. They will fly out and go wherever it has most food. They won't hang out if the other bees don't want them to. So there are eggs and larvae and capped brood. That's a drone. They don't sting. They're actually very nice. You can collect a few up in the fall, keep them as pets. They get evicted. All they need is a little bit of honey and stuff. They'll live for a while. You're a drain on resources in a nuc though. Okay, so this isn't like your usual practice. You're not going to buy a nuc and get a whole bunch of drone cells. I'm not putting any drone cells. There's some hatched drone. They're all through my colony. Okay, so basically this one is the same. It's got cap brood ready to hatch. Alright, so all these bees are nurse bees. There's some drones. I don't see the queen. I really hate using these boxes for one reason is they're good, they're excellent boxes to use and all that, but it's easy to get too much space between the frames and hard to do an install when the frames are all mucked too thick, like they have been separated, you know. Whoops, it's my arm on the camera. I was trying to line the frames up so I can get them together. Okay, so I got the most important frames to have together are those brood frames. And I can't see what I got in the camera here. So I'm going to take the queen. There's a candy plug. There's a cork plug. They got some bees inside. And again, I gave them water, so they're okay. This side is a candy plug. I don't know if I'm supposed to pull something out of there. It doesn't look like candy to me, it looks more like cork on both sides. Let's do this together. I screw everything up. Okay, so in here these bees, I put them in a box. They're pretty frantic. That gives me confidence that I didn't put my queen in here with them. I don't know how well the audio would pick that up. I don't know if that's candy or cork. It doesn't look like anything edible. Okay, I'll leave it like that. Okay, so I'm going to turn it over. I'm going to jam it in here between the frames. Oh, you can even see on the back it says Kona. In case I forgot, I was going to call them the Rona bees. Sorry, my sick sense of humor. I'm sure it's not funny to a lot of people. A lot of people who like to drink tea, right? Okay, so there we go. Now, okay, so I got the side that I thought was the candy side facing in. And I can push the bees out of my way and get it more central. Okay, so that's all there is to it. I've taken two frames. Both frames had everything from eggs, which look like tiny little pieces of rice, to the larvae, which look like a folded up maggot, and cap brood and hatching brood. So to those two frames I added a full frame of honey, capped honey, and two frames of resources. There are no when building a nuke, you don't put these in there, okay? These need a lot of energy and resources to fill those frames out. Now this is less than 10% of my colony, plus a purchased queen. Okay, didn't take very much effort, didn't take very much time. This has enough bees in it. It will hatch out, more will hatch out, more will come. This queen's ready to lay. It's mated. So, yeah, I'm going to check this tomorrow and the next day. And if by 2 or 3 days the queen's still in here and they haven't chewed it out, I'm going to release it. Maybe even just tomorrow. There's a lot of videos where they release them straight away, but I'm going to let them calm down. Even putting the queen in there just now, I don't know how the audio picks up the bees, but they're more calm than they were a minute ago. Okay, so yeah, and you're going to need an entrance. These things have a collapsible, closable entrance. It's supposed to be able to open it with a hive tool or something, I would imagine. Ah, that's... I really, you know, as much as the one drawback of these boxes that I can find is that it's easy to get too much space between the frames, but other than that, like the entrance is the perfect size. The way it folds out and closes, it's a protected entrance, so it works as, you know, an entrance reducer. It'll keep stuff out of there that shouldn't be coming in. Yeah, so that's it. The entrance is open. What you could do, okay, you want to guarantee you're building good nukes to sell. Okay, this one I'm giving away. I'm not selling this. This is too valuable to sell. If you don't think you got enough bees in there, grab a honey frame. Oh, there's no bees on this one. There's some bees. Alright, grab a honey frame, or a frame you know the queen's not on, right, out of your honey super or something, and just add some more bees. Okay, do that the night before you sell your nuke. Your customers will be very impressed. Okay, now those are foraging bees. So I'm just going to show you another little trick. I can get it in the camera. Okay, the entrance is going to be different than what they're used to. If you're just using an entrance like this, your normal hive body, you know, pick up some whatever's at hand. Okay, you stuff, you make some obstacles around it. All right, that's all there is to it. Put some spruce, bow, or some branches, or pull out a sucker out of your lawn, lay it across the entrance. The bees can see all directions. They'll figure it out. They'll notice it's a different position than they were in. They will find it again. And of course they'll know to go to the Checkmate Sporting Dogs box, because that's who they belong to. But yeah, that's all there is to it. I'm going to continue on with the box here. I'm going to either split myself another hive body, or just take, depending on what is left in here, I will maybe make a hive body and a nuke, but I'll bring it back if there's something else. Okay, I've gone through both boxes of bees. I've removed the frame that had anything resembling a queen cell. And I'm just adding a blank. This will give them something to do. Plenty of room. Relieve some of that claustrophobia. It's right in the middle of the hive body. Now, this is not expert scientific advice, but I have half my bees here, half the other here, some frames and a nuke. When I listen, this box is the calmest. This box over here has just as many bees as this. It's very loud. So I don't think my queen's over here. I think my queen's here. But I couldn't find her, and I pulled all the frames. But yeah, what a pleasure to work with these bees, you know. They're so calm. I'm working with no smoke. If I wasn't in a rush to get things done, I wouldn't even need a suit. Just I don't want, you know, even though bee stings don't really bother me that much, when you're having to lift things or pay attention, it's a distraction at the very least. So yeah, so I removed a bunch of frames. I've taken 4 frames of brood out. Each frame that I've taken out has all stages of brood on it. So I'm really happy with this queen. A little disappointed I didn't get a queen cell, a viable cell that I can make a split from. This is already the beginning of June, so if I waited any longer, I'd be well until July before I had a laying queen, if they make a queen cell. And once I have my honey supers on, this thing gets heavy. I don't want to be mucking around pulling each and every frame out looking for queen cells. So by purchasing 2 queens, I am now basically guaranteed, not guaranteed, you know, things can always go wrong. They might not like the queens might be have some sort of issue or problem, but well, I'm pretty hopeful that it will go just fine. So yeah, I'm just gonna build back, see what I have left. I might even take 3 more frames. If I can get them out of this other hive body I'll put them in. And then I have to decide whether to put them straight in a hive body, put them in a nuke. These guys already have plenty of resources. If they had to go in a winter right now, they'd be fine. This hive is packed. This colony is very resourceful. So yeah, I'm just going to rebuild. Give them back their lives. When you're taking splits and everything, I would leave any drone brood with the original colony. Okay? Or if it's on its own frame, like I run, I like to run with, wow, what a beautiful frame. I just love these bees. Okay, that's a nice frame, has all sorts of brood on it, but it also has drone brood on the bottom. So it would be a great frame to use I don't want those drones hatching out and having to be looked after by small population of bees. Okay, so basically I got to put some more frames back in here. See what I have. I ran out of the black foundation. I don't really care, to be honest. It is easier to see the tiny larvae. The eggs. What is it stuck on? Squishing bees or something. This frame's not in straight or something. Okay, then I got, I purposely put on a 10 frame honey super so that I'd have drawn comb for just this case. I'm adding in blank frames. Actually, follow my own advice before I give it. Checkerboard your blank frames. These two weren't fitting together very nicely anyways. That fits better. This should fit better up against here. There's something on the bottom of the frame. The frickin' drone brood. Whoa, what is that? Well, good thing I looked. There was a makings of a queen cell. Alright, so scrape off the crap, even if there's larvae in it. It's a good way to see if you have mites. Break open the drone larvae. They will have mites on them if you have mites. Since the drones are just hatching now, I don't yet have a mite infestation until they go hang out with my neighbors. Catch mites from whoever didn't treat. Because there's always someone in your area who doesn't treat their mites. And here in Alberta, where mites don't exist naturally and can't survive the winter outside of a colony, and I just killed a bunch of drone brood. But it makes the frame fit better. It's better for the bees. And unfortunately, drones are expendable, not just to beekeepers, but to the female bees. I mean, they can hang around while they serve a purpose, but okay. So I need, how many more frames do we got here? 5, 4. I'll need another blank one. 2. I may. Okay, so far I've taken 2 frames from this colony and started a nucleus of a new colony. Now I got a hive body sitting here. I think I may take 3 frames and start a hive body with 3 frames. If I can go find an extra. I'll have to go and find an entrance reducer. I don't know. I think this might just be it here. That was a bee massacre. I dropped my hive tool and squished them. How is that even? The odds of that? Yeah, making YouTube videos and trying to do your bees. Very cursed thing. Okay, so I'm just going to put this back together. And then I'll show you what I come up with the second nuke or hive body. Alright, so I got the one nuke. I started with only 2 frames I took out of my colony. This one I've taken 4 frames. I've taken 3 frames of brood and a frame of honey. Now, there's a lot of bees in here. I'm not too sure if I got the queen or not. You know, I look and look, I can't find a queen. Find lots of drones. Say, oh, there's one that's bigger, right? It's a drone. But I'm looking for that big elongated ass. I'm not seeing it anywhere. And each time I pull these frames up and down, I'm just killing bees, so now I'm spilling honey. Okay, so this has a lot of resources. I'm going to add in, I got some empty frames. I have more up at the house that have already got wax on them. So I think I'm going to go grab those, grab my other queen. And there goes the drones. I wonder if they're named for that. They make that noise. So I don't know how these ones came out of the other. Things disorganized. I don't think they fit together right. Oh, that's heavy. So yeah, they got a full frame of honey. And then each other frame has plenty of resources. When I'm doing hive bodies, the nuke, I put the 2 frames right in the middle. Okay? If you're installing a nuke into a hive body, you put the 5 frames right in the middle. I'm not installing a nuke. I'm not making a nuke. I'm going to put the frames to the one side. When I put the entrance reducer on, it'll be open to the side where the frames are, and the empty frames will be on the other side. I'm not going to try to checkerboard too much or anything. I want the cluster. I'm not going to get these frames to go together. Could be an issue in the future. The bees will figure it out. I think one of these frames, yeah, one of these frames came out of the... Here's what I don't like to do. Okay, some of these frames are fat. One of them came out of a box with an 8-frame spacer in it. This one here, wherever the camera's showing. So the wax comes out a little bit thicker. So I put a blank in between them so the bees can adjust the space without being squished. Normally I'd like to keep that brood together, but again, I got spacers in one of my brood boxes. Don't ask me why. It happened. It happened, and this is the cascading effects of it. But everything's workable. Okay, so now my brood, my main area of bees is to one side. I'm going to put in some frames with comb in it. In here, they're up in the garage. And put an entrance reducer with the entrance where the bees are. So yeah, that's it. I'll probably put the queen in here somewhere. I'll put the queen in between these frames. So I'm going to go grab the queen and some more frames, and I'll be right back. Okay, so I grabbed some more frames and put in just some wax, so they can do what they like with that. Can lay eggs in it, and put honey in it, resources, whatever. I'm going to toss in another empty one. Again, this side, there's no eggs, there's no brood. All the brood's over here. As they expand, they can expand this way. Kind of like a horizontal hive. I have a full frame of honey here. I think there's mouse turd on there. Alright, this was in the garage. Some mice got up to where it was at. Okay. Mice spread disease. They piss on everything everywhere they go. Really nasty. Just trying to clean off what I see. And again, it's a full frame of honey. Yeah, I just cleaned off as best I could. There's still a turd now, I see. And the bees would clean that up too. Or they just propylize over it. So it's better just to get rid of it, scrape it off. But again, it's a full frame of honey. I'm not gonna toss it away. Okay, so it's a 10 frame hive body. You can see here, I don't know if you can see it. I just sat the queen down. So I don't know if they don't like the queen, what they're doing there. And try to put the queen in here between these frames. I'll get myself stung without dropping the queen too far down. I got it at some funky angle. Okay, so it's either a good thing that they were all over the queen like that, you know, maybe trying to take care of it or attracted to the pheromone, or it was a bad thing and they're trying to smother it or heat it up, kill it. I have no idea. Leave in the comments what you think. But if I got any attention, I think it's good. I don't hear any frantic buzzing or anything more than just having the hive open. Okay, I have all the frames together as well as they fit. Some of the comb is funny on this one. That's fine. Okay, there's still room. Can I fit this in there? No. Okay. So it's missing one frame. So like a beetle or something. We don't get hive beetles in Alberta. That's not a hive beetle. Whatever it is will go away. Well, there I go. I got one nuke and one hive. So I got a 5-frame nuke and a 10-frame hive body, and I took out 6 frames. Took 6 frames out of, that's got spacers in one box, so there's 18 frames. So I took 1/3 of the colony. I started another hive and a nuke. So yeah, let me move the camera, finish this off. Okay, so the entrance, I just put a little sapling or whatever these things are that pop up in your lawn, right? Tore it up, laid it there. So as the bees come out, they'll notice it's not the same as the last hive they came out of. They'll reorientate themselves, or at least that's the idea. I'm going to leave that on. Tomorrow morning, before the bees are flying, I'll put an entrance reducer with the entrance on the side where all the brood is. Here's the colony I took them from, the hive body that holds the colony I took them from. And you see there's still plenty of bees in there. I did this while the bees are out. So all the foragers are out. The bees you saw in the video were mostly domestic bees, looking after the eggs and resources of the hive. But they all have resources in there. They got plenty of honey. They don't have to come out looking for nothing technically. And I will go in tomorrow and the next day to make sure the queen is okay and to release her if they do not. Alright, so that was just a look at me doing my first splits. I split my first colony into a nuke and to a single brood chamber. So I'll keep a hive for myself, and I'll give the nuke to my good friends at Checkmate Kennels, where I got my wonderful dog. So if you're looking for a sporting dog or a working dog, I highly recommend. There's no better breeding lines than what's going on there for both Malinois and GPS, or GSP, the German short hair pointer. But so if you want a hunting dog or a dog on the acreage, or just a great companion dog, I haven't ever owned a smarter dog and only getting started, so check them out if you want. Maybe I'll put a link in the description. I sure like them. Great people, great dogs. And again, just to look at the bees. It's hard to make videos by yourself when you're doing bees. The bees are the priority, so I tried to show a bit or as much as I could. I couldn't see very much at all. I can't even see now if I'm in the camera or if I'm obstructing the view of the bees or whatnot. It's super bright, super hot, so I'm real happy I'm finished. And if you've enjoyed any of this or learned anything or found it entertaining, please give it a like and a subscribe. I'd always enjoy more friends joining me here. I'm really looking forward to get to know y'all, and I really enjoy the people I do correspond with now. So thanks a lot for watching this video, and there'll be more. I make mead, I do organic gardening, I know biochar inside and out. I keep bees healthy and alive through the winter, and I get honey in the summer, so stay tuned. But I hope you're having a great day wherever you are, whenever you watch this. Peace.